So did 2022 go like super fast for anyone else out there? Hard to believe the year is coming to a close, and that means we're about to start hearing all about the new tech coming in 2023. But the year isn't over yet, and 2022 TVs are the ones to buy for several months. So let's go down a list of the best. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Caleb Dennison, and yeah, even though it happens every year, somehow I'm still surprised we're coming to the end of one year and staring down the next one. I'm getting emails about CES right now, and I'll be learning all about the new TVs for 2023, which I'm super excited to share with you. But before we get too excited about the new stuff, which won't be coming out for another 5 or 6 months at the earliest, let's talk about the best TVs of 2022. Now, personally, I think it was a great year for TVs. And now that we're finally seeing prices come down with a bunch of big sales on the horizon, I think this is the best time to look at the best there is to buy. Hopefully that will help you make a purchase decision if you're itching to pull the trigger on a new TV. But before we get into it, I just wanted to put a heartfelt thank you out there to everyone who supported us over the past few months as we've taken a look at some of the best home entertainment tech you can buy. It's been a lot of fun. And you all keep me motivated to constantly up my game and make the best content I can. Thank you so much for the continued support. Thanks for all the likes. Thanks for all the new subscribers. And thank you for the comments. I love chatting with you guys whenever I can, even though it can be hard at times because we spend so much effort on making this content. But you're absolutely worth it. Okay, I'll stop gushing now. Let's talk about some TVs. Now, real quickly, just a reminder that because we don't get Panasonic and Philips TVs here in the US, they aren't on my list. Both those brands make some stellar TVs and absolutely deserve a spot on best of lists. I just want to acknowledge that. But because I can't get them here, don't get any quality time with them throughout the year, and because you can't buy them here in the US, they just aren't eligible for this list. So with that said, I'm going to start with a TV that I should have known that it would be good given this model's history, and yet I was still surprised. I'm talking about the Hisense U7H. The U7H in the US doesn't have a mini LED backlight system like the more expensive U8H. So I guess I went into it expecting that it would either be super bright at the expense of black levels and blooming control, or that it might sacrifice some brightness to maintain good black levels and blooming control. Yet somehow, the U7H managed to impress me on both fronts. It's still hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that you can get performance this good at such a low price. Now, I need to point out that I'm referring to the U7H as it's sold in North America, and just in North America. Outside the US, the U7H is a completely different TV, and I'm really sorry, but I'm not familiar enough with Hisense's models marketed outside the US that I can run down a list of equivalents in other markets. But here in the US, the U7H is easily one of the best values in TV. I personally got remarkably good color accuracy in its theater picture modes, though I understand that wasn't the case for everyone who reviewed this TV. And along with its relatively high brightness and solid black levels, this is a TV that will really impress almost anyone who's looking to upgrade from a TV they bought even just a few years back. It's capable of solid HDR performance, which is hard to find at this price point, honestly. Sure, its motion isn't as smooth as more expensive TVs. Sometimes I wonder about consistency, like, is the one you get gonna be as good as the one I got? I can't speak to that, but what I do know is that this TV is capable of great things, and it's absolutely worth checking out. It's got a great suite of features for gamers. It works great for everyday viewing, and even movie lovers will be impressed. Having it on this list was kind of a no-brainer for me. And since we're talking about Hisense, let's keep going and talk about the Hisense U8H. Basically, take everything I said about the U7H just now and ratchet it up several notches across the board. The U8H does have a mini LED backlight, even higher peak brightness. In fact, it is brighter than some TVs that cost twice as much or more. It's got impressive black levels and contrast, good blooming control, and even though it wasn't as color accurate for me out of the box, it was still more than acceptable for most folks. Remember, when I talk about color accuracy, I'm talking about the same standards I apply to TVs that cost 2 to 3 times what this TV costs. Again, I think motion resolution is one of the areas that could be improved if I'm looking for areas to complain about, but most folks will be over the moon with the picture quality on this TV. It's astounding what you can get for the price. Next up is a TV model that has made the best of list for, what, 4 or 5 years now? I'm talking about the TCL 6 series, specifically the R655. Now, a big reason that TCL is the #2 selling brand in the US, second only to Samsung, by the way, is the legacy of the 6 series. This is the model that shocked everyone a few years back. And TCL has been great about upping its game year after year. The 6 series doesn't get quite as bright as the Hisense U8H, but what it lacks in sheer muscle, it makes up for in grace. It's just a more refined picture with slightly better motion resolution, slightly better upscaling and cleaning up of low quality content, and very solid color performance out of the box. It's also a great TV for gaming. In fact, it can punch up to 144 Hz refresh rate in some scenarios. Perhaps its only downside is that it runs on the Roku platform. Now, if you don't like Roku, well, the TV is built on it, though that's easy enough to get around. You can always use the streamer of your choice. But if you like Roku or are at least good with Roku, then you'll love this TV. It's another super high value TV that makes the decision to spend more kind of difficult because it pretty much spells out the point of diminishing returns. For most folks, the TCL 6 series is one of the smartest buys you can make. Now, before I move forward, I also wanted to mention the TCL 5 series, which, like the Hisense U7H, is a less expensive, less prodigiously outfitted TV that should offer very compelling performance. I've just not had a chance to review the latest S546 version. I have it here though, so you'll be seeing that review soon enough. Might have made the list had I gotten it sooner. I don't know. We'll know soon enough. Okay, so which TV should I talk about next? You know, let's talk about the Sony X95K. Now, I struggled with this, whether I should talk about the X90K or the more expensive X95K. And I ended up choosing the X95K for a couple of reasons. One, I actually reviewed it this year, but also I feel like if you're gonna spend extra money on a Sony TV, then you might as well just go for it. And while the less expensive X90K might make more sense for more people, we're here to talk about the best TVs. And I feel like the X95K is just a smarter investment if you're gonna go with a Sony LED LCD TV. The X95K has mini LED backlighting, excellent brightness, above average black levels and backlight control, and of course Sony's processing, which is really key to the amazing picture quality you get on this TV. It's also got a few features for PlayStation 5 owners that you can't get on a non-Sony TV. Speaking of, check out our Best Gaming TVs video if you haven't already. At any rate, when we look at some of the competing LED LCD TVs out there in the premium tier, we've seen a lot of inconsistency, right? Multiple firmware updates, changing performance behavior, inconsistent panel quality, that kind of thing. But when we talk about paying the so-called Sony tax and what that actually gets you, I think what it buys you is consistency in quality and peace of mind. Sony TVs, at least in my experience, are the most consistent and more reliable on balance than other brands. And besides all that, the X95K is just a gorgeous set. I like the X90K too, and it deserves some mention, so there it is. But I've got to keep this list tight, right? Also, this isn't the last we've heard from Sony on this list. Next, let's talk a little bit about Samsung. Samsung lands 2 TVs on this list, so let's talk about those. This year, I really like the QN90B and the S95B. Now, the QN90B was supposed to be the best 4K LED LCD TV you could buy from Samsung this year. And then folks in the US complained enough about the fact that European and UK markets were getting the QN95B, which had Samsung's One Connect box. So Samsung decided to bring the more expensive, only marginally better QN95B to the US. I, however, picked the QN90B here because it is the one I think most folks will want to buy. And it's just an outstanding TV on its own, right? It's got 4 HDMI 2.1 inputs, a huge suite of features that makes it play nicely with other Samsung products like Samsung soundbars. It's got killer brightness, contrast, and color. The processing is super solid, and it's got the best anti-glare and off-angle performance I've ever seen in an LED LCD TV. If you don't get the Sony X95K, then you should probably be looking at getting the Samsung QN90B. It's just that good. Now, as for the Samsung S95B, I mean, what can I say? The fact that you can get brand new QD OLED panel technology and all the premium performance that comes with that for around the same price as competing OLED TVs, that's awesome. But also, the S95B looks fantastic. Now, some folks have complained that the build quality is just not awesome, but I just don't agree with that. Yes, it is super thin up top, and if it gets beat up in shipping, that could cause more of an issue with it than some other TVs. But I don't see damaged S95B TVs running rampant right now. Certainly not enough to warrant anyone off of buying this TV, no way. Like, if you can afford it and you only need a 55 or 65 inch set, get it. It is outstanding. One of the 3 best TVs you can buy this year, and also the source of a lot of frustration for me because it made choosing my favorite TV of the year really, really hard. Next up is a TV that I'm gonna call the total package. This is a premium TV that is going to exceed most expectations, meet or exceed most people's needs. It's just the most well-rounded premium TV you can buy this year in terms of performance and size options and price and gaming features. It is the LG C2 OLED. It's just all there. In fact, I'm not sure what else there is to say. I mean, the LG G2 is also a stellar TV. Technically, it can get just a tiny bit brighter and it's got a slicker design, but I think the LG C2 is the smarter buy between the two. Unless, of course, you need a 97-inch OLED, in which case, Mr. or Mrs. Moneybags, please help yourself to the 97-inch G2. Honestly, I feel like I could go on and on because the C2 is one of my favorite TVs this year, or even ever. But like, the C2 speaks for itself. Oh, and by the way, in my opinion, it is the #1 gaming TV you can buy as well. Oh, and since we're talking about LG, I have to give a shout out to the LG Z2 OLED. What an absolutely insane TV this is. I mean, it's extremely expensive, but it's also extremely awesome. I don't think most of you watching this video will ever buy one, but honestly, I felt like if I was gonna put an 8K TV on this list, it would have to be the Z2. There are other great 8K TVs out there, and they are also awesome, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the way 2022 has me feeling, but I really felt like the 4K TVs this year were so good that I didn't want or need to spend a bunch of time going on about 8K TVs. Maybe 2023 will have me feeling different. We'll see. Anyway, moving on to my favorite TV of the year, and I can't stress that enough. That's exactly what this is, my personal favorite. The TV I would not hesitate to take home with me after the first date, the TV that had my heart at the word hello. This is the one I love and the one that just does it for me. You might not feel the same, and that's okay, but I am all about the Sony A95K. I never get tired of turning this TV on and watching it. It's like a first kiss every time, exciting and enthralling, and I always just want more. The color, the brightness, the contrast, the motion, the little artistic integrity decisions made at the processing level. Like, it is a video nerd's dream TV. And well, if it's not already obvious, I am a video nerd. I'm a nit nerd. I like accuracy. I like replicating a creator's intent. I like the idea that what I'm seeing at home is super close to what the folks who master and grade movies in Hollywood see. Also, it sounds great. It looks great. Like I said, it just does it for me. I love the picture quality and just about everything else about this TV. I think it's a bit too expensive and I wish it were more accessible to more people. That's really my only complaint. Anyway, when people ask me, and this happens all the time, when people ask me, what's the best TV out there right now? Well, a lot of things go through my mind, but my answer to that question will only come after I've asked a series of qualifying questions. Once I understand a person's needs and desires, only then can I tell them what the best TV for them might be. But if you ask me what my favorite TV of the year is, I won't hesitate to say it's the Sony A95K. Thanks as always for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed my picks. If you've got a favorite TV, tell me about it down in the comments. Please consider slapping this video with a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe and ring that bell to see more. I'll see you on the next one, and until then, here's 2 other videos I think you might like.